Today we have the honor and pleasure to have for this interview for Everything HR conference Mr. Itay Talgam. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. You moved everybody in the room.
Very kind of you to say.
Yeah. Tell us a little about your path, maybe, because it's different from what we usually see.
Yeah, well, the fact that I take my profession in music and actually turn it around so we can learn something about relationship between people in business and in society at large. Yes, this is something that happened to me quite by coincidence. Mm-hmm. I was at one point asked to speak to senior management of a bank somewhere, and they added that basically those people are not interested in music, so I better think of something that will, catch their attention. And since they offered quite a lot of money for this, I said, okay, let's
do something.
Let's do something, and then something really good happened. But I didn't plan it; it just happened. Because I was a little bit reluctant to do that, I said, those people, they are rich people. I'm just a musician. I came on my bike. It was in Tel Aviv, and I saw all the black Mercedes cars, and I said I was a bit. So I said, instead of talking to them and show my conflict, I will just show them things that I love. And I put those videos that you've seen and really invited them to talk about what they saw. And then little by little, I got really, first of all, surprised, but then I had great appreciation for those people who knew nothing about music, but knew so much about managing people, about understanding the communication, leadership, what it means. So finally, instead of me being the teacher and telling them this is the music, this is how we do it, it was the exact opposite. I just put something there, and they gave me fantastic lessons. And so it was a mutual appreciation, and it could be a dialogue with two different languages. And I think this is for me still, many years after that, something that makes it new and interesting and alive. Because, if you think that you have something very important to give others, then yeah. But if you just put something and create this conversation around it, I find it the best way to actually get to people, because it immediately gives them ownership. It's not me, and then they say, you're boring, you're not boring. No, it's us. And if it's us, we have responsibility and ownership.
Yeah, and depending on the group, you can have the same presentation with different outcomes every time.
Completely. It's like you're putting there something, and kids from school will speak about it in their language, and senior management will speak, and people that work on the assembly line have their own language. And often you find out, of course, that the wisdom doesn't come with seniority.
Yeah.
The most interesting things you hear either from kids or from people that you say, okay, they are nice people, but not very educated. But they know so much about life. So you can, if you come open enough, you learn so much. And I feel really happy.
I felt all overwhelmed because I didn't know what to ask you. Because it was so beautiful, and you did something that no one did. You put together not only leadership but HR issues, and you connected the people from the room, and it was so amazing what you did. And what am I going to ask him? Because, well,
now because it's actually I'm not just being falsely modest. I'm saying the what we looked at, those conductors and their relationship with the orchestra is such a rich metaphor that each one in the room could find his or her angle, a metaphor that speaks to their own world of and thoughts and maybe things they like to think about. So my job, and I think it's the job of every good teacher, is not to be in the middle, not to disturb. Of course, I have also to bring them in to, with a little bit of humor and some little stories and anecdotes to make people interested. But once they open up to what we present or what we all look at, then it's not my job anymore. Then it's they're doing the work, and I created the wave, and now I surf on the wave. It comes from the people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a curiosity, if I may ask. We saw the videos. We saw different conductors. You had a brilliant teacher.
Yes.
And how do you define you as a conductor?
Oh, that's a very good question. Look, in a way, I see myself as a student of my great teacher, Leonard Bernstein. We spoke about the kind of dialogues he creates in order to distill the meaning from the work or the music. I feel I'm doing the same in obviously in a verbal way. But as a conductor, I have to say, when I studied with Bernstein and I then went back to my own orchestra and I just tried to imitate him, of course I failed completely, because it took me really some time to understand that you have to bring yourself to a conversation. It's not a technique. You say, okay, so today I won't tell you what we're doing, we just have a conversation. Because the reaction is, who are you?
It's not copy-paste.
No, you cannot do that. So until you understand what is the authentic thing of yourself that you can put there and say, okay, now we can... and it takes some experience, and it takes some confidence, and taking some risk. We spoke about being vulnerable. You really put yourself out there. It's like a stand-up comedy guy. And if the audience is not laughing, it's terrible. You tell a joke, and so you have to be vulnerable. Yes, but you have to put yourself out there, and so it took me a few years, also in conducting, and obviously in this kind of dialogue with people that are not musicians.
It's very interesting. We can talk for hours.
I think so.
I think you can have a lot to share. But we will let you to enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of the conference and the lunch.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate that you came and you gave us such a beautiful speech. And maybe we will see each other.
I hope so.
For other events.
I hope so. It is my pleasure. Really, it was a great pleasure to have such a conversation, such wonderful partners. And thank you for your very kind and warm words. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good.